Hi guys, welcome to Having a Chat Wouldn't Do. Today I'm here with Sister Lam. Oh, I'm even running out of words. She is a mother, a sister, a former international banker, a former foreign exchange banker, a commodity trader, a founder and director of Mountain Peak Industries. Zanele Tsambo. Hi.
Hello, dear.
Unjani?
Ngiyakuphila, unjani?
Ngiyaphila. Bengicela i-engine number, ngicela niyithakazele. Ubani uZanele?
Zanele Tsambo is a young girl who was born in Soweto. I'm a mother, I'm a sister, like you said, I'm a daughter. I'm a friend to many. I'm also a businesswoman. I think that in a nutshell, and a child of God, I think without God, we don't exist. And it is through Him that we are able to dream, that we are able to visualize the type of communities we want to live in, our country, the way we want to see it, or the way we want it to be. I was born out of a mixture of cultural backgrounds.
When you say I've realized this. Guno Tambo, right? One other person that was famous that had the similar name as you, last name Wegu WHP, right? Zanele Tsambo. What's the relationship between the Tambos or the Tambos? Is it just a spelling error or is it?
No, it's not a spelling error. Completely different, unrelated. We come from Mozambique, in a town called Nyarime. It's in Inyambani. Our great-grandfather was born in Mozambique. He came to South Africa in 1890 to settle in Heidelberg. He was a missionary. And they say, according to my grandmother, he did not know how to communicate. And they brought my great-grandmother from the Eastern Cape, which means she was a Xhosa girl, meeting a Mozambican boy to communicate, to help him communicate, because, in those days, it was the gold rush. And everybody was coming to Johannesburg, and they felt for him, with the Portuguese people that he came with. So that's where I come from, a Mozambican and a Xhosa. They gave birth to my great-grandfather in 1909. They had 12 children, and I come from that lineage, and WHP comes from that lineage. My dad then was born, married my mom. My mom is a Mosotho, so it means my dad with the chakalaka yake, Mozambican and Xhosa. My mom comes and Sesotho, so I don't know. So I consider myself as a Pan-African. I cannot express myself in terms of those kind of things. Exactly. So that doesn't have a bearing on me as long as I know where I come from, which is the roots, the Mozambican and the Xhosa roots. So. Yeah.
You're from Soweto. Which part of Soweto did you grow up?
I was born in Orlando East. I moved out in my early 20s when I started working. And that's who I am.
Did you also go to school in Orlando?
Yeah, my primary school, I started creche. Oh, by the way, Ujub went to creche with me. Mulimo. And then I went to the Tawana primary. It was sub A till standard 2, and then standard 2 till standard 5. I went to the Tau primary. And high school, I went to Raucol, which is former Rand Afrikaans University College.
If I remember quite well, Raucol was not as easy to get into. And the years that you started, I wouldn't be surprised you guys were the first black children to actually be admitted into Raucol.
Yeah, so what they did is, how the school was founded. I think we went into the third year when the school was established. It was Metropolitan and the Rand Afrikaans University, where they were looking for children to put into a feeding program onto the university itself. So they went around the schools in the south, which is mostly Soweto schools, where they were picking like the cream of the crop. If
So was there tests?
there were tests, yeah. So you had to have aptitude. Obviously, they were looking at your intellectual capacity, your problem solving and critical thinking. And we wrote those entrance exams. Obviously, they will be checking you. I think they identified us from standard 2, which is grade 4.
Yeah.
So they'll just check you along from then standard 3, 4, 5, which is grade 5. Guys. What is it? Grade 5, 6, and 7. Yeah. So then if they are following your progress throughout your primary school years, then you are ready for the next.
So if you show a level of consistency, then you do belong to be included in that,
so,
in
but
that
you still
program.
have to write an entrance exam, which is how we got into the program. It wasn't just anyone that could just come onto that. It was a specific skill set that they looked for. And we had you didn't have subject choices. You were doing maths, your sciences, and your commerce. That's it. 6 subjects, entire school. No one can choose. You're over. And I think
so. It was a must. There was no way.
You can't choose.
I want to do history.
No, you can't be. You can't be safe. There are no safe subjects. Everybody does the same. And so then you get eliminated at grade 10. So they'll see that these kids are smart, but they're not gonna make, because the papers were set by the lecturers and the professors
from university.
So it was kind of hard, but we survived. If you want to take your child to go crazy, we all turned out to be crazy.
So now the other thing that I also realized, this whole business thing is not something that is new to you, right? It's not like you just woke up and say, I want to film it. But it's something that has been there in your house for a long time. Now, how does it feel? Business is the order of the day, and amateksi by then was like violent. It's not like it's not violent now. It is violent now. But growing up, it was a bit violent. How did it feel growing up in a household of a taxi owner?
First of all, it was just me and my sisters. My dad had 4 girls, and none of my sisters wanted to play fun.
So being a Kinkosad.
So I had to be the boy of the family. But it helped me a lot because, my dad was the type of dad who will let you discover things. And he wouldn't want any of his children not to know how to change a light bulb, not knowing how to change a tire, how to identify a spanner. If a door is broken, I remember I learned about the earth neutral and what's the other one? Live, I think.
Yes,
go black, it was red, blue, and brown. He'd let you open it, fix it, if it kettle, pastor, how to change the element. So those are the things that he's taught me. And over and above that, my dad was always, bringing us into the business. I would handle the books. I would hire and fire drivers.
At what age did you start doing that? The hiring?
I think, from 13. From 13, so you'll just check mileage, petrol usage, if there was a breakdown, how much did we spend, if there's panel beating to be done, because taxi drivers will always crash their cars, and sometimes he's away, and my dad was also a political activist, so if he's away, we know for some reason, so my mom is there, and someone has to protect the house, somebody has to lock the gate, somebody has to make sure everything is in order. So from that aspect, it always made it was part of our DNA, because we knew how to handle books, we knew how to know are you profitable or not, did the driver make enough money from what you had focused it from, are you able to meet their salaries and those type of things.
At that point, you never felt like your childhood was being stolen. You felt like you were killed.
It wasn't stolen. I think my childhood was stolen when my dad was killed. He was also shot in the taxi violence. So it was now real. It was now real, where you realize that the guy is gone and who's going to protect us. But innately you had those abilities to continue. So I would also wake up when I want to go out partying with my friends. Asina mali, tati taxi, pepe, chose. Shama loda itu ya buye chozi. Pagikare, survives in driving. So it's proper. My taxi was popular. Everyone will want to get in because like, yo, share, yes. That's why I choose. So it is also, taught you different types of handling businesses. You can't just be smart, book smart. You also have to be street smart. And yeah, that's how you survive in life. If you don't have the street smartness, you don't have the courtesy to approach different people at different levels, you'll never make it. So those are the gems that I picked up from my dad, which is still beneficial till today.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit of business, right? Marketing. What is marketing to you? Right? What significant role does marketing play for any business, be it small or big?
Marketing comes in different forms. There's levels. You can have word of mouth marketing, which is very crucial because it talks about, having your finger on the pulse of your business. Because if I give you a service that is good, somebody can refer. And then you can come now, because there's a digital environment that we're operating in, you have your social media marketing, then you can have a advertising agency that can drive your business into a certain direction, depending on who you want to reach, who do you want to appeal to. They can help you with branding, even personal branding is part of the marketing. You can't be an executive and just rocking up to meetings late. It's part of your brand. It tells them this is who I'm going to deal with. So there are different touches of marketing. In my business, currently, it is a very protected environment. I'm not aggressive with marketing. I deal mainly with either cold calling and having one-on-one interactions because it's a completely different environment. I'm not at a space yet where I'm saying, I want to put my business out on Facebook. It's not that kind of environment. But if I have to have products that will require either marketing through radio, TV, social media, then that is the drive. But basically, it is just giving a service, delivering on what you said you will deliver. And people will just buy that integrity, honesty, and ability to deliver.
Okay, so a lot of talk was in up. Everybody's saying BRICS logo, and then you start about they are talking about BRICS, all right? To you, as a former foreign exchange banker, what significant part or thing do you think would happen with the introduction of BRICS? Do you think it would change our lives as a common man or as a small business?
Yeah, well, BRICS is basically opening up markets and putting a focus around the BRICS area countries. And we've had the latest BRICS summits where 7 other countries are joining, your UAE, the Middle East. And we've got South America, Brazil, Argentina also. Brazil was already there as South America, and then Argentina is also coming on board. The significant change that will happen is that there's a certain move in the economies of trade. The focus will no longer be, in Europe and America as the powerhouses of the global economy. It means that we can have a variety of choices in terms of who we deal with from a country perspective. And also there's some sort of direction in terms of where do we source our products. So it will mean that what we thought was Hong Kong, China, it will no longer have to be looking for a product, for example, that is manufactured, that would be known as American, but it's produced in China, and people are saying, "Oh, why?" An example will be Nike and China. Nike is American, but they do the production in China, and we start questioning because China has always been looked as a country that produces fake. And why is the economy of China growing? It is because they've got it right. They've found ways of doing their processing, and they are value adding into goods in such a way that is cost effective, and they are not labor intensive, but more mechanized. So it is those type of thinking that will change in our communities. We can also produce our own with the opportunity of trading with other countries. So you're no longer looking at your microeconomy, looking at it on a larger scale and participation with different countries. So yeah, in my opinion, that is how I see it going.
And from what you're saying, I don't see it as something that can take effect immediately, but it's something that could take a couple of years before we get to that point where we are truly recognizing or realizing the BRICS benefits.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be overnight. It's not like it's like the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement that the African Union has come up with, and we had 55 member countries of the African Union signing onto it, meaning that we are saying that as Africa ourselves, we are having a problem with trading with one another. How are we making trade easier? Also with travel, why do I need a visa application to go onto DRC, for example, because it's a former French colony, and I cannot just go into Zambia or Zimbabwe or Mozambique without having, my visa. We are visa-free countries, but without just making access into those countries easier. So it is just enabling trade to become easier, that there aren't any red tapes which are probably historical from the colonizers. They've determined for us as Africans, how do we move, how do we do business with one another. So basically it is to enable trade to become easier, whether we're using a common monetary policy, which means that if I use rands here in South Africa, I'm able to pay my friend in Nigeria, and there aren't any differences or disparities in the exchange rates. So that is basically, from an economic perspective, it might take longer, but if we work on it, it's part of the Agenda 2063 of the African Union. We will get there. Not now, but definitely in the future.
I hope it's very, very soon. Now, you are a former banker, right? Not necessarily you were dealing with foreign exchange and foreign banking, but I want to find out, just from a banking perspective, why is it so difficult for a black business to obtain a business loan as to opposed to its counterparts?
Okay, I think, banking is quite vast. I worked in international banking, which is totally different from domestic banking. You are out there in the market dealing with South Africans who are trading outside of South Africa. And the flow of the goods against the flow of the money needs to make sense. So if I'm sitting here as a banker in the domestic sector, you're walking in, you're looking for a loan. You probably started your business because you hated your job, and you want to, become self-sufficient, or you were unemployed and you started a business. Compared to somebody who is employed and getting a salary on a monthly basis, business is difficult. Business is not the same. There are months that you make money and the months that you don't make money. The barriers into receiving credit or a loan from the bank would be determined by how your financial statements look like. So for an entry-level businessman who doesn't understand that when money comes in, it doesn't mean go take it immediately into your pocket. You need to build a financial progression into your finances. So when banks look at that, they look at your spend, they look at, are you saving, they look at, do you have any assets? And you'll find as black people, we don't have a culture of acquiring assets, and by assets I mean immovable assets, which is property. You'll find somebody who's making good business and they'll go and buy a Range Rover, for example, and that puts a hole in your profitability because you haven't arranged your finances. So it's a number of factors that banks will look at based on your financial track record. There are barriers, but there are other DFIs within our government, such as the DTI, the Industrial Development Corporation. There's the NYDA, the National Youth Empowerment, Youth Development Agency, that do funding. But they would also look at your business model. How do you present it? What are your opportunities to see the untapped potential, and how you will grow their business. In terms of loans, unfortunately, banks are quite strict, and we also need to get into a culture of managing our finances. So financial literacy is important before people can obviously approach banks. Yes, they get given a bad name because they don't grant a credit willy-nilly, because they want to make sure that their money will definitely come back. Yeah. So basically those are the challenges where you'd see as a small business. But it's not that bad, because we have our own government agencies that look at businesses in terms of funding.
To those that may not know, right? What is commodity trading? What is commodity trading? What do I need to study, or where do I need to go for me to either start a business in commodity trading, or to even maybe start a career? What is commodity trading?
Commodity trading is the ability to identify markets outside of your common trading area. Mm-hmm. For example, if you want to send products or goods outside of the country, you are trading. And the difference is that you are paid in a different currency. And you can also be in South Africa and want to bring in products produced outside of the country, and that is importation. And that's also business, because you have to pay in dollars to receive the goods, or whatever currency that you wherever you're sourcing from that particular country. So so basically it's an import and an export. Mm-hmm. And finding ways of paying each other to ensure that whoever is buying or selling receives their goods, or they receive their money. Mm-hmm. And it is specific to the type of commodity or products that you're dealing in.
If it could be gold one time.
It could be gold, it could be sulfur, it could be lead, it could be chrome, it could be whatever a commodity. And for you to study that, different people have started differently with studying differently. For example, I studied international trade with ITRISA, which is the Institute of International Trade of South Africa. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to understand, and also with my banking background, you need to understand, what are the requirements, what are the rules that govern the trades. We have the Reserve Bank, the South African Reserve Bank, that also monitors the flow of the money against the flow of the goods. Mm-hmm. You have the South African Revenue Services, because each and every product needs to go through customs, where they check what product are you sending, and they have codes. So you actually have to study either logistic management and supply chain. You'd need to study, some people are international trade lawyers, you need to study international trade law, or as an economist you need to study economics. So it's different entry points and studies that are out there. So yeah.
So in 2016, you embarked on a journey to start in Mountain Peak Industries, which is your own business. What was the thought behind it? Was it, hey, I don't want to work for anybody? Was it that thing you would, I think I can start something and I can actually push it myself without having any animosity from Gegum Savings, but you just felt passionate about it? What was the whole thought behind Mountain Peak Industries?
Okay, I think I've worked for banks for more than 14 years, I think. Mm-hmm. It was basically, looking at the movement of money. And it's not just rands, it's billions. It's rands coming in from investors, and it's rands leaving the country, where different corporates are investing outside of the country. And it sparked an interest in me, because I used to structure those type of trade transactions where you'll find maybe MTN is setting up business in Nigeria. And, you follow the transaction from how it started, because you'd have to, do the applications to the Reserve Bank to report that there's money leaving South Africa, and a company is starting a new branch in another country. So when you follow and track those because you learn as you do that, it sparked an interest in me. So that's something that I became passionate about. And to really start the business, it was after my daughter's birth. I just decided that, I want to raise her. because I didn't raise my son. My son was raised by my mom, my sister, whoever that could lay their hands on him.
By then,
No, I was very young. I was a teen mom. I was young, and so with my daughter, I felt I didn't even know I was pregnant with my son. So with my daughter, it was a pregnancy. I wanted to see it through. I wanted, no one can tell me how to raise this one. I will do it myself. And that's really what sparked, the birth of Mounting Peak. Mm-hmm. And I didn't just start it off. You have to do a whole lot of research. It's not something that you wake up and you decide, oh, today I'm starting a business. You need to, reach out to your old contacts. You need to reach out, find out what's happening in other countries. And I think it took me 3 years of research, drawing up models. How am I going to approach, the stream of business that I'd like to do, and also relying on contacts in each and every country, because you can't just go to any country blindly. You lose money. You have to build those solid relationships where when you are ready, then you are able to say, yes, I'm going to do it. So it didn't just happen overnight. It was lots of research until I got to a point where I was now ready to transact. Mm-hmm. And that's where we are right now. Okay.
And, I've been in business for a few years, since 2019. And come Corona time, we experienced the worst. Most of us lost our businesses. We lost a lot of equipment. We lost a lot of money. Business on its own is just very, very, very hectic. When you started, I know I felt this a lot. There were some teething issues, right? Things that gave you a rude awakening that it's not as rosy and happy in the business world. What were your teething issues? What were your rude awakenings when you started business?
For me, I think the rude awakening is the amount of information that is stored by someone somewhere. It could be institutional information that is guarded because they don't want certain people to enter into certain industries. For me, that was a shock because I wasn't looking at, your day-to-day commodities. I looked for a market that is niche, that is not popular, that not everybody is starting to do, for example, nail business. It was commodities that have been previously guarded pre-94, and they still are closely guarded, and the information, for you to get to the back of the office to meet someone, it's difficult. First, you're a woman, and who the hell are you talking about? I'll give you a product, explosives. I am licensed to deal in mining explosives. And they look at you, you are black, you're making an appointment under your name, you've got an African surname. You can't, sorry, we can't see you. And you want to know. So it is, you're constantly knocking until you kick down a door where someone will sit down and hear you out. So those are the shocks for me of institutional memory that's held by certain individuals who do not want to open the markets for previously disadvantaged people. And it's not over. We shouldn't despair. We should keep on pushing, keep on fighting. We're not where we're supposed to be, but we will definitely, one day someone out there will hear you out. And just people must persevere in whatever they want to do.
You briefly touched on it, also being a female and being an entrepreneur. Business is hard as is, whether you're a female or male, right? But how is it as a female? Do you get treated in terms of business?
Look, I try not to make it a 100% black owned, because that gives us a whole lot of entitlement.
Do you also feel like it restricts you?
It also, if you want to push that ticket, that envelope that, open the market for women, yes, they should. Because it is the right thing to do. But you can be given an opportunity as a black woman and fail. because it is not in you. But if you open up the markets based on your own experiences as a human being, and you have integrity, you're able to deliver on what you say you will, then yes, open those markets for women. It's not easy, especially in male-dominated industries. The stories that women tell about how they are treated, it could be, sexual harassment, where if you want a transaction to happen, you have to smile and have your cleavage and look prettier to entice a man. And some men would obviously want something in exchange, and those are the realities that women go through. In male-dominated spaces, you feel like you're the only woman in the room, which is literally happening in my world. We're the only woman there, and where are the other women? And it is also about opening doors for other women, so that once we enter those spaces, we are able to bring others into the room to dilute whatever spaces that we want to be in.
Now, we know that you come from a business-orientated family, right? But who from your family would you say, this is the person that made me to become the person that I am? Your outlook, your way of doing things, even the smaller things in life. Who would you say impacted your way of doing things and your thinking, Jay, in Bilwin?
Yeah, I think I owe that to my grandfather and my dad. My dad and my grandfather were two different people. My dad gave me that, that ability to fight, that gangster type of thinking. Not to rob people, obviously, but to think like a man and to believe that there is no man that can tell you what to do. You got to fight for yourself. You got to stand for your rights. You have to push down doors if you have to. You don't give up. You don't cry. Yes, if you cry, you wipe your tears and you get back on to the saddle and you ride. And my grandfather had a different type of nature. He was also a businessman, He had a farm, he'd sell eggs, he'll sell chickens, he'll sell goats. He would make his own, he would grow crops and make his own meal, chicken feed and sell. And he had a quiet nature about him. He was soft.
Completely opposite to you.
Yeah, no. Like I'm saying, my dad was proper mafioso, Yeah. And with him, he was calm, he'd speak to me, if somebody that you don't shout and call out Mduduzi when he's in the next room, go to him. Don't scream, even if he can't hear you. Just get up. No one has to know that you want him to do Quietly get up, tell the person what you need, and come back. And that is soft leadership. That is empathetic leadership, because you're able to put yourself in somebody else's shoe. The reason our government doesn't do a lot of things properly is because we lost that empathetic leadership. Why is there a pipe burst and it's open for days? No one cares to come and close it, because there are people, there are children and it's sewage and it's whatever. So once you have that empathetic leadership, you are able to be humble, you are able to be gentle, and when the time calls for you to bring in the other leadership, then you are able to navigate. But it gave me a great balance in that sense.
Now, you being a commodity trader, that means you travel quite a lot, right? You're always there just to find deals and go get deals. Now, how do you balance? How do you balance the two?
Being a mom and being an entrepreneur or businesswoman has been a blessing for me, because knowing that I work for myself, I'm able to manage my time. I'm able to plan my travels accordingly. Like this morning, my daughter has a play at school. I'm not there. My heart breaks because I'm going to miss it. But, if you get the right support, the dad is able to stand in when I'm not around. When I'm traveling for days, I know that she's taken care of. He'll bath her, make sure that she gets ready for school, and I'm kept in the loop. Compared to working for corporate, where you have to be at a meeting on time, be in the office on time, and leave the office on time. It's been a blessing for me. You are able to manage your time, your travels, And that's how you get the balance right. I don't miss soccer practice. I don't miss, gymnastics. She does horse riding. I'm able to be there all the time. I work from home, which is much easier. If she's playing, I'm able to switch on my laptop from wherever, and I work while she plays. And yeah, that's the beauty of
to find that balance.
That's the beauty of, except when you're traveling, of course, you make it up when you return by, playing extra happy mommy again.
And buying presents, I'm
and
sure.
Buying presents, yeah. Thank God she's out of the Barbie phase. She is not into toys anymore. She's a PlayStation girl. Cool.
Nice.
FIFA.
But you do know that
I can't play FIFA. I'm sorry.
PlayStation games are also expensive, right? Okay.
They do.
You know that. So I'm gonna speak about something that may not but a couple of years back, if I'm not wrong, about 3 years back, you lost a very important person in your life. It was a friend of yours. What impact did that play?
Wow. I think losing someone that you've grown up with. Sibongile was very special. When we went on to high school, I met her. I think we're still in grade 7, 5, at our entrance exam. And you meet somebody who matches your personality. I don't know. I didn't have a personality in primary, but something happened. So we went in. We got there. My dad dropped me off at I think 9:00, and I met her. Said hi. We're just checking if we've got the right tools: a pencil, eraser, a ruler, and yeah. So we went in. We wrote our exams, and after we finished, my dad came to pick us up, and he asked her, "Where is your dad?" That was my first question. I think my dad felt very touched when he met a child without a father. And she said, "My dad died." And he said, "Okay, fine, it means I can drop you off." So we went to Dube, dropped her off. On our way, we were just talking about, reporting back to him how the exam went. And the last words were, "I'll see you next year. I know we've passed." That's her.
That's how confident she was.
Yeah, that's how confident. Like, "See you next year. I know we've passed." Great. And that was around October. And, come January, schools open. And there you are. So it's like we haven't seen each other then. Like, "Oh, bestie, you here? I've got a friend already." And the other people that I knew from our previous groups. So we made friends, and from that time on until we are approaching our late 30s, she's been my friend. We've had great adventures, stories to tell for days to our grandchildren, fights as well. And yeah, so what that did to me mentally, it shook me. And I think it was just when COVID was about to start. Am I right?
Yeah, I think, early 2020.
Yeah, and I was going through my own personal stuff as well. I think I lost my mind at some point. I didn't know what it was. I had vertigo. I had memory loss. I couldn't remember things. Then I realized how much that affected me, because when someone that close and that young, with so much potential, with so much potential, realizing that you could be next, or you had moments where you think, why? But you don't have answers. But it was also because it was during COVID that you realize how important it is to forgive. Towards I think 2018, we were not in a good space, and we found ourselves back together, and I was just glad that, forgiveness is important.
You were able to reconcile.
We were able to reconcile. And you are at peace, but there are things that happen where you're like, I just want to pick up the phone and tell her, this is what happened, or guess what I'm listening to, or do you remember? And I had to go through my own soul searching as well, to ask yourself pertinent questions about what's next. What are you going to do better? What are you going to change? And yeah, it really affected me, but I'm good. I'm in a better place, and I know if I see her in my dreams, it gives me peace. Although there are messages that I get, and I'll call you, and I'll have my own rants with you, and but that was a significant part of my life.
If she does come to your dreams, please tell her So Zanele, we business. Phone they want to try and gather new business, not traveling somewhere. What is it that you like doing that, besides, and this time I'm not even counting Abandoan, what makes you happy?
I think I like my own time. I can spend the whole day not doing anything, being in bed, reading a book, taking a walk, making good food. I enjoy cooking so much. I'll just be in the kitchen cooking, having a glass of wine, and that is my time to really reconfigure myself.
Sorry, being a dad, this is an alarm informing me that I need to fetch my...
Did we cut?
No, we don't cut. We're not cutting this time.
Was it on pause?
No, it's not on pause. We carry on.
So you'll be able to edit it out?
No, I don't even need to edit this one. It's part of the mistakes that are supposed to be there.
Lovely. It's life.
One thing about business, right? Connections and relationships that you make play a very vital role, right? Can you give me strategies of how one can build much meaningful or build rapport with much meaningful relationships with other people? Because in business, you need relationships, aka I'm a connection. What strategy can you give me? You build a connection.
I think being a nice person, when you walk into a room, greet. You don't pay. Greet, ask how people are doing, introduce yourself, and if you have a moment to tell people about what you do and also ask them what they do. You would pass people without greeting them and realize later on into the night or day where they say, actually, you need to speak to that person. You've killed that relationship because you failed to acknowledge their presence. Just greet. It's free. Another thing is being honest and keeping your word. If you said to somebody, I will call you back at a certain time, honor that. That's integrity. It shows that you will be able to do business with people. So without integrity, telling people stories and lies, it's a big no in business. You have to deliver on what you promised. Even if you said, I will call you at 2 p.m. If you know you're going to be busy, set up an alarm. Call Spanban. That's simple.
Stick to your word.
Stick to your word. It plays a huge role. And also accountability. Things can go wrong in business. Raising your hand was before it even blows up. Guys, I've effed up. Raise your hands. That message is received with a softer blow than if you have to run around, tell people stories.
To cover up.
Yeah, just raise your hand, have accountability. I've messed up. This is how I am going to correct it. Or if you don't know how, ask for help. Guys, I'm in a crisis. How do I resolve? Do you perhaps know? This is how I think I should resolve it. Do you think it will work? And lastly,
so Uzehlisa also plays a huge role.
It plays a huge role. If you know that your production is running late, you had a truck that's stuck at the border, inform your customer. Or your house helper broke a glass that a client has ordered. report it. We will replace it in 7 days. Apologize. It will be late, but you've owned up. So accountability plays a role, a huge role. And lastly, it is just doing your bit to research the people that you want to meet and coincide your plans or stalk them if it means. Find
But
where they
politely
are.
so.
Politely so, yeah. You know, find where they are and place yourself in those, around those activities. Chances are you'll bump
AKA
into
being in the right place at the right time.
and be able to do a 2-minute elevator pitch. If I give you 2 minutes, hit me with whatever you need, and I'll decide if it's landed or not. But the chances are, if you always have a 2-minute elevator pitch, just imagine you're stuck with somebody that you've always wanted to meet in the lift. Press play.
Ngoba mina I talk too much, it won't take 2 minutes. I think it might take
Yeah.
an hour or so. Angazalali nomuntu wakhona, but yeah.
Yeah, but you would have missed a moment. So you need to package it within the 2 minutes that by the time the lift gets to the 20th floor, you've exchanged numbers and you know how to find him. Or can I please take your email address? There's something interesting. It's about 1, 2, 3. I would like to have a meeting with you. We're done. So yeah, finding those people that you really want to meet, place yourself in their presence and make sure that you're short and sweet.
And straight to the point.
Yeah, and straight to the point.
Now, I ask most of the guests that come to see me the exact same question, right? What is your dream for Africa?
I wear Africa on my legs.
I wish we could show it.
Like I said, I'm a Pan-African. There is a whole lot of opportunities in Africa. I wish our people could live outside of our small country and understand the opportunities that we are blessed with in Africa. My dream for Africa is for us to do business with each other. We don't need any other country to dictate our terms on how we're going to do business. We need to be self-sufficient. We need to travel. We need to know or understand the geopolitics. We need to understand our cultures in Africa. You can't want to go to Italy and not understand what's happening in Zambia or Lesotho or Swaziland in terms of economies. Why is the migration of other countries coming to a country to find opportunities? You can also go to their country and find opportunities. Learn about Africa. That's a dream that I have, that we do more business with China. There are less borders. There are less barriers to trade. That is the dream that I have of Africa.
And what is your personal aspirations? What would you still say, I need to still achieve that, you know? If I can get that, I would have reached my pinnacle, but I still want to achieve that.
My aspirations, not my aspirations. I want to industrialize. I want to build industries where everybody can get the slice of the pie. Because I know if I win, we all win. Those are my personal aspirations. Instead of having to go to large manufacturers to ask for products, I need to be able to create my own. And yeah, be, what do they call them? There's a term that the EFF uses, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, so we want to be industrializers. We want to industrialize and be the ones who have the means of productions. Yeah, the means of production. That's what I would like to see happening.
And what legacy do you want to leave behind? Besides Mountain Peak Industries, what other legacy do you want to leave behind whenever they mention the name Zanele Tsambo?
I've started building a legacy. What I do is I bring my son along with everything that I do, and to teach him he's studying right now, but he needs to know when I close my eyes or I disappear or I can't access my email, he's got passwords to my email accounts. He built my website. I had to force him, and he did it. So, it's just giving people extra responsibility. If I'm able to delegate a certain responsibility, I know I've transferred a skill to the next person. Even if you don't know, I'm willing to teach. And because of the industry that we're in, it's so niche and no one knows about it. My goal is to bring everybody on board to learn a thing or two, and hopefully they'll transfer those skills back.
Okay. There's a question that I didn't have on the list of questions that I had, but I feel I need to ask it before we go. You had your son when you were a teenager, right? And to a lot of black girls, that becomes a life sentence where it stops your life. There is no future that can be seen if you are carrying a baby. How did you get to a point where you realize that, yes, I might have had a child? I don't want to say it's a mistake, because children are never mistakes. I might have had a child from an early age, but I still need to build myself so that I can take care of this child. How did you get to that mentality? Because I could understand that at an age where you're a teenager and all of these things are happening, it also kills your mentality as a youngster.
Yeah, I guess it happens differently. I have a foundation called Kiama Foundation. Kiama is my daughter's name. And through the foundation, what I try to do is identify girls who are teen moms. There's a lot that happens in a girl child's life, especially when you're a teenager. We go through puberty, and that's your early menstruation. And the education, unfortunately, amongst the black community in terms of communicating the stage that the child is in, especially a girl child, and it doesn't happen to the boy children as well, that once a girl gets her periods and you happen to have sex, there'll be a child born. It's done in the most harshest way, and it's sort of pushing away the child from speaking about such issues, and they have no one to educate them, and they have no one to tend to that, mommy, I started my periods. In our age group, especially, I see it amongst my friends, the parenting style has changed compared to what it was with us. Our mothers were very abrupt, in a way that it was seen as uncaring. So I try to, identify those girls who are mothered by those type of mothers who had that same mentality. Because if the education happened at an early stage, family planning is done in an environment where a clinic sister will be shouting, I might as well prevent her. And there is no child who wants to walk into that environment, because one, it's embarrassing, because the stigma is that, uthandi sex, and uthanda bafana, and it could be for sports reasons, where girls are getting family planning to prevent to stifle the menstruation cycle, so they're able to play sports without feeling bad about their flow. And I wish I had that growing up. And that is what I'm doing actively. But to answer your question, having a child as a teenager, I just felt that I've embarrassed my parents, and I want to take ownership, and I am going to be that girl that I wanted to be. So I didn't let the shame, because there's a lot of shame as well amongst family, amongst the community, and because you have a child, now it means that you stop living. And now it means that you have this burden that will stifle your growth. So I was fortunate. I had a supportive family. My mom and my dad, they said, go ahead, be what you were supposed to be. We'll take care of this, run. And I ran. I think it also, made me to go into overdrive, because I really had to prove a point. And, you gotta kick ass all the time. And that has, I had it naturally, but it just propelled it. So yes, to young girls out there, if you fall pregnant, there is still life out there. You can still make it. You just need to understand that it's an event. It could happen later, or it could not happen later in life. It could happen earlier in life. And, in certain situations, like with mine, it wasn't out of concern. Right now we have a problem where you see a 10-year-old being impregnated, and you ask yourself, who did it? Who got you pregnant? Is she concerned? Is she matured enough to say, yes, I'm ready for a child? The answer is definitely no. Statutory rape is a crime in South Africa and is not enforced. It could be an uncle in the family. It could be, does it mean that the child has to be discarded to having a better future? The answer is no. They need to be groomed. They need to be assured that there is better life and not going to drugs and alcohol and a doomed future.
Okay, before we go, without revealing too much, what are your plans currently? What are you busy with?
Like I said, I don't do marketing in the space. There's a whole lot of sensitive transactions that happen. But what's happening currently is just to build up, our presence in SADC and East Africa, and establishing those relationships and putting our footprint in those countries. I think, in a nutshell, that's what I can tell you. And also in South Africa, because you find it difficult to do business in your own country, because like I said, there are certain...
You must know somebody that knows somebody that
yes,
knows you.
So, if you do business in Africa, no one cares who you are, as long as you can deliver, as long as, you are a business person and you can deliver. No one cares what skin color you are. And also I'm trying to work onto the South African market, that I can't be running around in Africa and be known in Africa when I'm not known at home. So those are my plans.
You were recently in Tanzania, right?
Great.
How was the whole trip?
It was awesome.
Do you feel that you were appreciated there in terms of even the people that you met and some of the connections that you built there?
Yeah, when I travel, I make sure that I don't leave a country without registering a company. I don't leave a country without leaving with a MOU signed, because you know that once you get an opportunity, you have to kill it right there. So I was fortunate, and blessed that I had a network of people that were happy enough to guide me, to take me to the right places, to speak to the right people, and conclude in principle while you're in country. So I see a lot of people that attend meetings or travel abroad just for the gram. I try not to do that. It's not for content. When you travel, it is for business.
Especially in your line of business.
In my line of business, that you have to make sure that when you leave with signed deals. It was beautiful, to answer your question. There are other people that you meet that you'd never met before, that you'd never meet again. It is important to just close in on whatever it is that you need.
I'm literally done asking you questions, right? The one last question I just want to find out from you. Why did you say yes to this interview? You're a very busy person. Why did you say yes to this interview?
Because you're my baby brother. No, I'm kidding. I just feel that you need support. I like what you're doing. You need quality interviews. And I believe in the dream. And I believe in also just giving my time, although it wasn't planned. I know we've been...
It's been 6 months.
Hasn't been 6 months, guys.
I've been asking
for real.
6 months. TJ, make sure the camera is on me, is on my face when I say this. It's been 6 months I've been asking for this interview. This person has been so busy. I'm so happy that it finally happened.
And I honor my word.
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you're here. I'm hoping that not only me, because I've learned a couple of things about you today, but not only me, but other people would have picked up some jewels of wisdom from this conversation that we've had. Number one, I did not even know what a commodity trader was. So I'm hoping that not only me, not only Usfis, or not only UTJ would have left with something, but even other kids, you know, even grown-ups, not only kids, but grown-ups can pick up something from your story, you know. I know somewhere along the line I might have pressed some wrong buttons. I know you wanted to cry when I asked you about your friend. But yeah, it's ultimately, I just enjoy the conversation. Thank you very much for coming through and having a chat with me. Man, I cannot say thank you enough. Guys,
Thank you.
Before I let you go and we go and we see each other next week, I hope with each and every guest that we get to bring into our studios and we have a chat with, there's small things that you can pick up here and there. She was once a teenage mom, but she still believed that it was possible for her to achieve her dream. She's a female. She's in a space where it's male dominated, but she still believes that she can make it. So now, you can still make it. As far as next week, sharp.